all can be mortals, capable of mistakes. The journey is not here to be agonized upon.
Mere Mortalites, welcome back. It is monthly goals, and we are here together, the Mere Mortals, once again, back behind the mics. You got Juan here.
And Kyrin on this side.
We've got a couple of people who are listening to this live, so once again, now as we start trekking back into live mode here at the Mere Mortals, feel free to join us on these Sunday mornings for those who can. There's also going to be book reviews, all the good stuff. We'll probably touch on a little bit on the monthly goals today. We like to reflect back on the previous month, which was going to be June.
Yep.
And then July, you'll start getting a bit of an insight into what we're looking at doing. We are recording this on the 13th of July, so it's quite a way in, but we both got back from Europe. So
we had no options.
Correct. Right. You'll see some of it of what we're planning, what we're doing. It's going to get interesting. It'll be good fun. So I think we just dive in. We'll probably talk about, I don't actually know what our topic is. Probably going to be more meanderings a little bit later.
After that.
The live one. So just stick around if you're listening to this live. If not,
stick to the goals.
Remind us. That's what it is. But we're going to get goals. June 2025 for me. If you could recall back from a little while ago, it was none. No goals. Enjoy the holidays. Successful. I did that. Lots of enjoying the holidays. I'm glad I didn't put anything.
No goals. I failed them.
I'm glad I didn't put anything, around running or around, because I could have accomplished the ran in every country. Or
did you?
I did. I ran in every country. I made sure that I ran in every country. Not every city, not every location, just in every country. So easy enough. That was fine. But no goals. Fantastic. I was just fully focused on relationships and what I was doing, and obviously the wedding and honeymoon and enjoying. And I would have spent a good 50 hours on the beach, I would have said, probably over the holiday. At least I would say, because of the 5+ weeks, let's just say 2 days out of every week, we were at the beach from 10 in the morning to 7 p.m. at night. Basically not doing much. So no goals. So I successfully accomplished doing no goals in a really beautiful way.
That's good. That's it sounds like you had an amazing time. If anyone was following Juan's Instagram, you would have seen a lot. If not, is it what's your Instagram handle now?
_Mere Mortal.
Yeah, because it used to be Swami, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay. Very good. Very good. We will hear more about the travels in the meanderings, because we'll do kind of like a travel recap of sorts. My June 2025 goals, so let's get into them. Keep an open mind to all possibilities. So there's a little hinting at, I met up with my ex, and there was another girl, actually, I did meet up with. And she was just like a random one-off I met for 20 minutes here in Brisbane ages ago. And I went to just go see her and just see what's she up to? And she's actually a really cool chick living full-time in Germany. So it's like, okay, that's nothing's really going to happen there. But it was very much worth going to see her as well. Prioritize friends and meetups over events, locations, sightseeing. Yeah, I think I did that pretty well. The times I did go out to do sightseeing was just when I had gaps. And so it wasn't like I was going I'm going to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa over, meeting up with this friend or hanging out with this person. No. Same when I was in Zurich, I hung out with my friend as much as I could. When he was working, that's when I went to go to the Lindt Museum chocolate tour. Amazing. I loved it. Unlimited chocolate. What's not to love?
Wow, I want to hear about
that. Keep a close eye on your expenses and always have some liquidity handy. So this was very nice. When I hit the crunch of traveling Europe, and I didn't need an emergency loan, but I always had backups options. So I skated through Europe. And it was very good, but financial.
At least for Australian purposes, Kyrin was trying to do the best taxation wise for his gains.
Correct. Yes. Now fitness, 2 one-arm handstands and 1 run per week. So on average, I did that. Some weeks I had to, it was basically I did 1 run or 1 handstand workout, but on average, I have indeed completed all of that. And,
good. Okay.
Because I was gone for exactly 8 weeks, basically, I'm coming into tomorrow a new set of workouts. So it's perfectly lined up in terms of my schedules, which was accidental. I didn't know when I was going to come back. So otherwise, I would have set more dates of saying Mere Mortals will be back.
This
mid July, but I only knew 2 weeks ago that I was coming back at this time. So, yep, here we go. Fight with everything in your power to not feel emotionally bad. This was just because there's times, especially when you're in like party hostels and you'll see someone like more, I don't know if you want to call it like more energy full of you, more party going, more fun, more charismatic, all these sorts of things. And I find it easy to compare myself to other people in those situations. I think I did pretty well overall. There was certainly like times where I had some mixed emotions and feelings whilst traveling, but it was ultimately a very good experience, and I didn't dwell on things whilst traveling as well. So that was great. I had probably the most tranquil of vacations that I've had so far.
Okay.
Remember to make the most of everything. This is your last time. So, I was trying to embody that when I was in these places where it's like, I don't know if I'll ever be here again. There's certain locations I know I'm never going to be in again. So I think I tried my best to make the most of them, whilst also going like, I'm not going to walk 5 kilometers of 15 kilometers, 50 kilometers every single day. It's not possible. So there's times where you got to be like,
that's the limit.
And just hit out. Work on being more courageous. I think I did this especially with my ex and some of the conversations we had. That word and that is going to play a bigger role in, I think, next year's goals as well. So,
courage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a little hint there. And then begin staking to the various projects and keep up to date. That's related to AI stuff and Morpheus. And I did do that. So tick.
Podcasts and listening and that sort of thing?
No, so that was more in terms of actually using the Morpheus token to like stake to people who I think are creating cool agents and doing good work. So cool. I spent some time going through the list. I'm actually starting to actually use like a hot wallet on my phone for some of these things, and I'd never really done that before. So
it's got me erect.
Yeah, one security practices could use some updating. But for me, I think a very successful June, and I had a lot of fun whilst traveling.
Good.
Once again, we'll talk more about that later.
We will. Yeah. A lot of these is encapsulated in traveling and whatnot. So we'll
discuss
that separately, but I think it'll be important to talk about the July goals. Do we want to talk about just the Boostergram stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
so we posted some stuff in our Discord, which if you're not in there already, folks, by the way, that's where we share a lot of the conversations and fitness and sort of like behind the scenes stuff. We've got a couple
snippets of videos of
a lot of our solid like sort of members are listening in there. So if you haven't jumped in there, jump in, have a bit of a sniff. If you start advertising your Apple Mac to sell, I will kick you out. Well, at least Kyrin did anyway. So don't do that. But jump in and see some behind the scenes stuff.
Some guy came in, and I'm wondering, like, just for those at home, do you think I look brown? Because
brown, like tanned.
I've tanned a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I've tanned a little bit. I think I'm feeling browner. I was just looking at myself in the camera there. I'm like, damn. Look at this brownness. I'm getting to wine levels.
Well, I don't know. I can't even really pull this back, but I'm definitely browner as well.
Yeah.
But yes.
Do you want to show off the ring tan?
The ring tan. It's actually going away a little bit. I can't really like show it on the camera. I guess more so would be like my watch. If you look at the camera,
watch one,
there's a watch like tan going around. So definitely we got a lot more tanner. That's the European summer for you.
Sure. But yeah, if you want to get little sneak peeks into daily stuff and daily conversations, in terms of like group chats, we'll definitely be using the Discord more.
Correct.
Now, especially once back from traveling, because some of that stuff was just logistics and people don't want that. So I have indeed updated all the Boostergram stuff for the first time in 6 months. So I usually try and do it quarterly, but it was a busy start of the year. So I won't be able to show it up on the screen, but maybe I can show it to the camera here.
Let me do it. Let me do it because I think I can do it at the right distance.
Yeah. So essentially for quarter 1, quarter 2 of 2025, we got 32,000 sats in quarter 1, and then a whopping 110,640 in quarter 2. A large portion of that later one was due to Peter's big baller boost of 100K, which came in just before we were traveling for
for my wedding.
Juan's wedding. So thank
you. Huge appreciation.
Thank you very much for that. look, over time, you can see the numbers. Look, they're going down. There's no doubt about it over time, especially compared to like financial year 22 to 23, a little bit of 24. And look, it makes sense. That's when I was certainly doing like a lot more conversations, pouring more effort in. This graph is a good indication of effort being put into the podcast. 23 was when, and the latter part of 22, I was putting in a fuck ton of effort. there's no doubt about it.
Well, I would only say it's effort in the specific realm, I think, of the not just Boostergram, but like that entire ecosystem, I guess, as well.
For sure, but...
The reason I say that, is because I also saw, just on like YouTube, and not our audio one because it's harder to track there because we've moved a couple of times. But if you actually look at our YouTube growth, not in views, but in actual like subscribers, it's just been like on a literal linear trend over the last year, basically, like without any real, like it's a good consistency, whether more input or less input. So I guess it obviously depends on what it is that we're tracking, specifically on Boostergram. So I would say it's the effort in the connection and the ecosystem of the people who are utilizing that mode of support.
For me, I put more effort into the podcasts in those years, for sure. Conversation-wise, the amount of time purely spent on podcasting stuff was way higher, double, triple than what I'm doing at the moment. Yep. So maybe even more. So 100%, we were doing an episode a day. You know? True,
There was simply a lot. There was a lot more. There's no doubt. Effort being done.
I think the graph also reflects that. There's a couple of like interesting things. This is where it's once again, like if it was just easier to get up a table of supporters to show this stuff on our new website, I would, and have it updated continuously. Once again, this is where it's like I just want to be able to say to an AI agent, hey, can you grab this stuff, put it here, and not need to do all the vibe coding, even though like vibe coding's the easy way of doing it because you're not actually writing the code yourself. It's still, I've tried it out. I've done it with my brother. It's still extremely frustrating. And this is where I need the agent. So there's a couple of interesting things though. Peter has crossed the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think, number of amount of sats boosted in.
Yeah, okay.
So 2.3 million is above now. So thank you very much, Peter. That's huge. It's amazing. Wow. We really appreciate that. Cole has been very consistent. He's been doing well. Lyceum, so Martin Lindeskog, he jumped up like 5 places in our little ranking leaderboard. He's still pretty far off a t-shirt, but this is where it could be like Martin's jumped up the ranks and being able to show it on the screen. That is incentivizing. The gamification of things does work. On the Morpheus Discord, they've got like this little game thing that you can play in now, and it's like totally changed
the dynamic of people getting in there.
It's kind of sad in that it's like, fuck, we can get tricked by games so easily, and it's like you could say it's so superficial and things like that, but it fucking works as well. So
sure.
To come. I think we'll probably be talking more in the future about the podcasting. This is, I would say, close to like the lowest point, perhaps in terms of effort, like this last month or two.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So I'm very much hoping that some things will change in the next year and stuff, where it would make it more viable again to do perhaps conversations or things like this. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to work on, but this is one of the things that I would like to integrate more, or if not necessarily this, because once again, Boostergrams still are hard, but I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of this vision that I've had for a while, which is you don't need to know sats. You don't need to know, hey, I'm boosting in 5,648 sats. It's just, hey, I'm going to send the mere mortals $2.50 on an app that is similar to Spotify or Apple or whatever, and they send it in, probably uses Lightning or something like that in the back end, gets to us, and then we can call them out. So I think that is coming. It's still probably a couple of years away, but that's what I'm very much looking for, and when I see that, I will be one of the early users. Early users, 100%.
Yeah. And again, me and Kyrin have slightly different views on that, and ultimately when it might play out and timing and stuff like that. But again, for those who are supporting us right now during a time when it is probably difficult to do boosterograms in the comparison across like every other means that you can do so, like amazing.
Yeah. There's for example, if boosts end up never working out, and we do switch to another system, for example, we've got I think like 30 t-shirts still. This is where I'd be like, all right, for everyone who has boosted in on the leaderboard,
you get a t-shirt, you get a t-shirt,
even if they didn't hit the 100,000, it's like you still contributed, and I'd be willing to reach out and pay some shipping expenses or whatever. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things like that where it's like, yeah, there's still lots of ways I want to reward people who
supported us
and especially if they did so early when it wasn't cool or when it wasn't easy, things like that. I very much appreciate that. So Cole in the chat, you might have another t-shirt coming your way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sent him a yeah, I got to have sent him a t-shirt.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that I did.
Okay. Cole, let us know if you're listening to this right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the July goals.
Yes, absolutely.
I've actually got goals this particular month around, and at least for me personally, August begins my fresh annual goals. So
this
obviously
is the end of an era.
The end of the 32-year-old annual goals era. So some of these are obvious in that respect. So from a body perspective, I got 6 all up. Body perspective, I want to establish my fitness back to the standard. So, standard here being just a really straightforward method. I'm using currently a 5x5 method. I talked about it in the protocol episode, so I won't go into it.
Check out that episode that Juan put out.
Correct.
I think it was the one before this.
Yeah, for protocols. And look, it's just purely, what are the protocols? What am I following to get back to the minimum standard I need? And then it's like kind of like jump off points to the next couple of things.
And also check into the next episode because we're going to be talking about some weight changes we experienced during our travels. Fitness.
Okay. Yeah.
One got fat.
Wow, I actually lost weight, as I usually do when I go on holidays, but it was a loss of muscle, increase of fat. Three items for the mind. One, set up my new annual goals and monthly goals. Easy peasy, but does take a lot of time, as I've been finding out. Setting up my new way of journaling. So when I came back from Europe, I had a bit of an inkling feeling that I wanted to change a little bit of the daily journaling that I'm doing, kind of attached to my protocol change for a morning routine. That's been going really well. I'll probably talk about that separately because it's its own whole domain to talk about. Sure. So as you'll see me immortalized, I talk a lot about the monthly goals, and it's going to be an insight into what's going to come out probably for the next couple of months and years. I'm going to spin way more things now off the existing stuff that I do, because like things like the journaling, I feel like I could talk about it right now and talk about it 5 minutes, but I actually consciously think, I could easily turn that into a much broader, more valuable piece of content to just create and release and talk about it fluently. Some insights into what's coming in the annual goal. I've started to write down some interesting things for the following annual goals. I want to trial out the new morning routine with at least 20 days this month of it in terms of like following it. I'm up like blistering pace at smashing that, because every single day in July so far, I've done it, no matter Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Every day started exactly the same in 4:15 a.m. wake up, or even earlier when I was jet lagged, but 4:15 a.m. wake up, going to get my just a black coffee with ice. Just sitting down, doing the things.
The Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, it's been really good. Like, it's been really good.
I put a 15 grams cream on my forehead and massage that in.
It's been like, I think I've always previously followed a morning routine of some kind, but I'm amazed by how just following a really diligent, not time-wise, but just knowing that in this time domain of 30 minutes, I want to do this and have these supplements and do this work and do these daily routines and get going to the gym. I've gone like, oh wow, that's a big game changer to what I was doing previously. I think previously it was because I might sit on Instagram for 5 extra minutes, look at the news for 3 minutes, that just might not be wasting time, but it's just, again, energy that you associate somewhere versus putting it elsewhere. So it's like, man, it's been good. And then 2 more. So be kind to others, strict on my standards. Again, something coming out of Europe. They're just being kinder to others in terms of what they're accomplishing, what they're doing, their speed, stuff like that. But again, strict on the standards that I expect of myself, which is a duality that's hard to hold, I think, for me personally, in that it's easy for me to be strict on myself, which is fine. But then the problem comes in that I hold that strictness to others when it's an unfair thing to put against the world, where it's like a little bit kinder on them, stricter on myself. The more I can balance that, the better.
Sounds very similar to my thing with related to like, it's pretty similar actually. Like I'm strict on myself but I have the extra thing of when it's like, if I do good things, then I won't like be prideful about it. And if other people do good things, I'll like praise them, for example.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we'll be like, yes, it was because you were strict on yourself. You were determined.
Yeah, gotcha. So. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, especially now that I've started to articulate that sort of wording with my daughter, in that she's always probably understood for like a year now, but now that I say words, you can tell that she's absorbing or parroting back or saying things. And so like for an example, it would be at soccer, say she performed in a way that was like really good. I've got to watch the language that I use, because usually for myself, I might be strict and like, oh yeah, I did 95%, but actually it could have been better at that 5%. And like, next time you got to like accomplish this and do that. And maybe that is helpful for me. Maybe. Like, I'm not even saying it is. I'm just saying it is maybe. But then I've got to be careful in that I'm kind to others, in that I'm celebrating effort, I'm celebrating accomplishment. Yes, I might not be perfect, but that's not the world, because you could very easily then extend that into other people who are close to you, and it actually is a negative thing as opposed to something you think is positive only because it feels that way for myself. Maybe because I've developed that over time and it feels good, does not equate to everyone else being the same. So. Sure. Very important one. And then do one daddy-daughter podcast conversation. So got to hold that one. Again, it's now, I haven't talked about it on the podcast, but I did a book review just recently, and I had camera going, phone going, and the microphone going. Microphone just absolutely crapped itself on me. And the audio recording from the phone is what saved me, and using some AI, just clean up from Adobe. It like made it sharp enough that you can listen to it. And it kind of makes me think, man, especially because I'm not sharing these publicly, I'm just going to probably just plonk the phone in front of it. I'll have these microphones to use because I have seen that she will sit and hold it and kind of like talk into it, but I probably won't even connect them. I'll just record it on the phone, take the audio. If I want to get them crisp, I will. But again, I'm not sharing this to anybody. And in the future, if I want to crisp them up, if I want to, then I will. But what's the point if I'm not sharing it with anyone? Sure. So apart from the family. So it kind of made me think like, even easier. Again, and that's going to be a tenet that I carry forward now, is where I can, from an efficiency perspective, do it. Like, it kind of doesn't matter as much. So those are the goals. July, Immortalites for
Juan's wedding, we had the microphones as props. They weren't actually attached to anything. But
for the speeches. To be specific, yeah. Yeah, it was just the prop that gave the power.
I hated it.
I didn't even know who started that.
Oh, I think it was your wife's mum. Your wife's mum, I believe, was the first.
My mother-in-law.
That's the correct terminology there. Yes, all right. My July 2025 goals. So, first thing, don't rush into establishing a busy routine. Open time for serendipity. So this is coming back to Australia now, and if you recall my goals from last year, part of it was saying like, when you're in the search for a partner, it's like you got to have room for serendipity of like, oh, you meet someone cool. Well, if you're on a strict routine and you got to catch the next bus, or you're like got to be at this next place, you meet someone cool. Well, then what are you going to do? Are you going to just be like, oh, fuck that opportunity, I'm just going to go and do my regular routine? Or is it like, oh no, like here's a cool person, like I'll spend 20 minutes chatting with them. So trying not to get into a routine, because I do like routines, but I'm going to try and push it off as long as I can. Maybe a month or two, maybe even more, but I've got a whole list of random things like ballet classes, going to a beach volleyball thing, taking my brother's dog Butters for a swim for the first time, all this stuff it's like, okay. I want to do it, and it'll open me up to new places, new opportunities, new people.
Sure.
And you can't do that if you're like daily, strictly, working out 1-arm handstands every day sort of thing. So do that. Start working through that list of fun activities / catch up with friends, which I'm already starting to do, meeting some more friends this afternoon, and going to reach out to our high school friend group and try and get something going pretty soon. Create a tab list for the crypto top indicators graphs, and this is also...
What can you give us an insight?
So this is more the on-chain metrics, for example. I can give you some that I've got here. Because I do have my social metrics, which are things like meeting people who have quit their job to do crypto / AI stuff, which I did meet last year, right near the top. Linked failures, things with dodgy arbitrage. This one's already like... So under illogical behavior, 3x companies experiencing revivals from buying BTC. Oh my Lord, that's already at like 35 of 100 now. So that's already like one thing. Yep. But the on-chain metrics are things like the BTC 200-week moving average hits red on the heat map, SOPR above 1.15 on Checkmate, ISM manufacturing PMI in the 55 to 60 zone, BTC historical risk levels above 0.8. And these are all things, MVRV, BTC long-term hodler, NUPL. All these things are like ways of measuring where coins are moving, how they're moving, percentage of profit people earn, stuff like this, where it's still social in nature because it's people moving it, but you do get this, you're able to quantify it, and it's also across multiple different places. Bitcoin Magazine Pro, Plan B, Checkmate, Rational Root, Real Vision, Ben Cohen, Coin Bureau, Glassnode, Market Radar.
And how are you keeping tabs of all of this yourself?
Well, this is where I was saying, like, what I'm going to do is actually get all of these in tabs. At the moment, it's just on my phone of like, oh, I should go check this out sometime, and this is what I should roughly look out for. But I do keep a weekly like snapshot, and in that snapshot, I think I'll also be like, all right, this is the time to bring up all of these tabs, look at where we're roughly at.
You wouldn't trust like an agentic way to just summarize that, give you the summary of it all?
If I can do that, yeah, sure.
Should be fairly easy.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll probably do both because I was asking. Last night I asked Venice. So once again, this is Venice, but it's using the open source large language models.
Yeah, sure.
Grok used to be open source, I believe. So
I don't know if they've been fully open source.
I think it was partly. So there's varying levels of quality. I know this, and I know probably I'm taking a hit with Venice in terms of the accuracy, but it's allowing me a lot more uncensored stuff at the same time. So there's trade-offs. I was asking it. I saw a music video, and the music video was of Marina and the Diamonds. So it's the girl Marina, whoever she was, and it was a music video from 13 years ago on YouTube. And I was like, oh, she's really pretty there. Well, I wonder what age she is. So I was like, I could find this out myself, but I'm like, I want to start using these things, like asking Venice and stuff like that. How old was Marina and the Diamonds 13 years ago? Was what I asked it. And, did it calculate it perfectly. And then I was reading it and I'm like, oh. And it said, based on the assumption of, 13 years ago from the current year, which is 2023. And I was just like, I spent 5 minutes being like, what made you think this year was 2023? Like, give me the source that made you think this. And it's fucking around and not telling me. And I'm like, this is the kind of bullshit where it's still like, you can't trust these things 100%, man.
Yeah. Well, you do. It's always with a trial. If you trial around different AI models, right? You're talking the Claudes, the Open AIs, the Groks, the more open source ones. The level of was not illusion of
hallucinations. Yeah,
it is varied, and I've even started, now that I've used it so much, to see it in different models of the same company. So the example here, OpenAI is 4.0 versus 0.3 at the current time that we're sitting. if you use O3 for certain things, it's really good, mathematical and scientific. However, using the O3 model for existing like content that you feed, especially a lot, it will just make shit up completely for no reason. But using the same OpenAI but 4.0 model does not do that. Okay. So you also have to be being careful of each of the models and what they're trying to do or convey. Again, who knows exactly how they're merging it, but you start like just getting the feel for them, of course. But no, for sure. And I think in this circumstance, I think you should absolutely try using it's not agentic, but just using AI to just help conglomerate the information that you care about. Because what I've been finding that I've been doing myself is really important is from all of that. So there's an underlying thing that you're actually trying to obtain from all of those sources, and it's probably whatever you talked about. So social wise, or
she was
like
26, by the way.
26. So social wise or financial wise in all of those models, there's things that you want to answer or like to you give a ranking or a rating or something like that from all these sources. I think it's just forcing the hand of those AIs to conglomerate information to give me a result on these areas, and then you get a trend. And as I like to say, I think at those levels, you want a directional trend. You don't want a precise trend. Like you don't actually care that Bitcoin's at 117 or 118,000 or that 132 companies or 152 companies publicly hold Bitcoin. It's more around the directional trend of that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So with all of that, and that's the thing though, it's, I don't know exactly what I want. I just want to know, okay, on average, how many of these indicators are hitting into like what you would call euphoria zone. And
sure. Yeah.
But if 5 of them of the 7 are there, does that then, I'd need to clarify in my mind more to be able to tell the thing as well. So
if someone
this is why it's also like,
if you want an example of something like this, lots of these exist. It's like algorithmic trading. Do you know the guy Gene Simmons? I think it's Gene Simmons. No. Gene Simmons had I'm not going to give you numbers because I don't
Gene Simmons from Kiss.
It is, but I think Gene Simmons. Let me look this up to make sure it's correct. But I'm pretty sure it's Gene Simmons.
One thinks the lead singer of Kiss is like an algorithmic trader.
Let's make sure. This guy's like, sorry.
No, he was the bassist or guitarist.
Sorry. Jim Simons. I got that wrong. Jim Simons, founder of Renaissance Technology. He's a quantitative hedge fund in New York. And this guy's an old guy. He was a mathematician, and then turned into hedge funds. Basically, what you're talking about, he did it for like just shares and trading and in other financial markets. And basically, under the hood is what they were doing. They were just taking like however many millions of points of information and movements and data and whatnot to algorithmically trade and do certain things, and like a few other hedge funds made like such ridiculous levels of money. It had like a scaling problem because to a certain level you couldn't do more money to get the return, so they made it more like close family and whatnot, but it makes like ridiculous money. But again, it's just using that relative of getting all the points that are, I guess, tangible to the markets changing. I mean, similar here. It's just kind of like, I guess what you're saying there is you just want to find what are all the points of inflection that would make prices or certain things change, or at least alert you of like, I'm saying this. That then in turn means realistically this is going to happen.
Sure. One thing I want to remind people with all of this, being able to outsource your thinking to a being or an entity that is smarter than yourself. Look up the story of long-term capital management, which was a hedge fund by all these quants, PhDs, like everyone agreed they're the smartest people in the room, et cetera, These guys got absolutely insanely massive, were on fucking 100x leverage, trying to eke out these tiny arbitrages and, these ridiculous, just they were the smartest ones. They thought they had the best opportunity to capture these things, and so they were going crazy ham on it. And because they were hubristic and not as smart as they thought they were, they ended up just fucking blowing up and causing untold chaos to many, many people who trusted them because they were smarter than themselves.
Sure.
Once again, with AI and things like this, you can say, it's smarter than myself. It can do all these things. If you're not fucking checking it and making sure it's doing like the foundational basic stuff right,
you're going to be in some pain.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and again, separately, we're going to talk about this later because I asked a question to a few of our listeners, what would be a good topic to talk about. Cole came back with, he wants to talk about AI as the new God, basically, the new religion.
Sure.
So there's some aspects of that I think we'll talk to into the future.
Yeah, yep, sure. That sounds like musings in a week or two.
Yep.
All right, we got very sidetracked there. Edit and analyze handstand travel video plus start new smarter gym logs. So this is being able to essentially take all the videos that I've taken whilst training, so analyze them, and then with the gym logs, do kind of exactly what new smarter gym logs. I don't even remember what I was.
I only remember that you were talking about. You sent me a picture of your gym logs, and you were like, "Oh, can AI or something like turn this into a digital format?"
Yeah,
so
no, I don't think it was that. I think it was. I think I just meant smarter in sense of I've learned from that I was overtraining, and so
right. Okay.
I think that's what I meant. All right, reaffirm your life purposes. Do a symbolic moving on. I'll talk about that perhaps a bit more in depth in the next episode. But yeah, once again, kind of like aligning myself back from travels. A bit chaotic. So it's like, all right, what do I care about? What do I want to focus on now that I'm back here? Let's reaffirm that. Full travel recollections into the journal. So this is, I guess, like the more intimate thoughts and details, which I have been using the journal for. The podcast is great for that, but there's still some things I don't share publicly here. Double down on being more courageous with your loved ones. There's particularly just having some conversations where it's like, I don't really want to have this. Like, I don't want to bring this up because I don't know exactly how this will go, but it's probably something that's been nagging me a little bit. And it's like, all right, I should bring it up. And then spend 3+ hours trying out various agents and bots. And I've got a little list of ones that I want to play around with, try out things, etc., etc. So
awesome. Yeah, this will be good. If I'm gonna, look, I'm not gonna go too side quest here, but yeah, that and the just learning and applying and using. This is the same with crypto, same with AI, same with whatever technology. Just be prepared to learn. Be prepared to use. I had a conversation yesterday with someone in the software space, and I was kind of describing to them how much I'm starting to see in contracting space, AI like really decimate some people, like some huge ones. Something that came out recently as well was if you work in HR, man, you're basically fucked. That role is getting kicked out so quickly from companies. It's not funny. So if you are in the work industry, if you're doing it for fun, just pick it up, learn. And I think at some point crypto is going to be similar. Maybe it's just like a slower pickup than we're seeing in AI. But yeah, it's interesting times. I'm glad that you're putting the time in there as well. So
sure, yeah.
I think we'll probably leave it there as well for the monthly.
So just fitness. I did not tick off any of my actual fitness challenge. So I still have all of the, big worksheet. This is the things that we were doing a couple of years ago together. Now it's just me, lonesome.
Correct.
Trying to tick off some of these things, which are mostly related to handstands, one arm. I have hit a bunch of PBs whilst traveling, and I think I got to 7 seconds on my right, 5-ish seconds on my left, in various different shapes between straddle, diamond, and even tuck. Even yesterday I had 1 or 2. It's getting into like a fun territory where it's probably at least once a session I will have a decent hold, whereas 2 months ago, 3 months, 6 months, I was having that one decent hold a month maybe.
Yeah, okay. So it stepped up to like once a session and once a month.
It's much more enjoyable when I can come in and be like, oh, I've got a decent chance of
a good one
of something happening.
Yeah.
Which
that's
is
cool.
Which is really cool. It's a fun feeling. So yeah, that's I'm enjoying training a lot more. It's nice to get past that fucking real frustrating part and get into like a funner part. So yeah,
good. Fitness for me been fun. Again, I kind of talked about it already in goals, but it's just about getting back to the usual weights and movements and things that I've been doing. One thing I guess that is different, I haven't been doing any Olympic lifts since I've been back. Don't know if I'll introduce them anytime soon. Okay. Partially is Olympic lifting good, but it does put a lot of strain on joints and the technicality of it. I kind of went, look, am I really, really going to need to be doing this in the general broadness of my life with the level of potential injury and concern that it can bring? Maybe not. So for now, that's not in there, and I've been enjoying just doing my other stuff for the moment. So that's been really good.
Brilliant. Cool.
I think we'll leave it there, me immortalized. Yep. I don't think there's any comments that I can see.
No, I don't see any extras.
Okay, perfect. Oh, awesome. There I can see there. Oh, fantastic. So we'll leave it there. Mere Mortalites, thank you for tuning in live to this Mere Mortals monthly goals conversation. A little bit long, a little bit winding, and that's just how it's going to be for those getting back in from the holidays. Again, if you're listening to this live, then you can always join us from a monthly perspective. Monthly goals, it is every month, usually at the start of the month or at the end of the month. We're going to have our musings, meandering sort of conversations at 9 a.m. on Sundays. That's going to be the return, so tune in for that.
Yeah, should still say the same.
Yeah, be prepared for some of the stuff. Like the little insights that I would give is that some of my annual goals that are to come and then monthly goals that are coming from it is going to be more, obviously, just more for the Mere Mortals, a little bit more selective, more thought-provoking, more like longer in terms, higher quality, let's just put it, than just absolute rough stuff that comes out of it from myself potentially. So look forward to that. But for now, if you've been supporting and enjoying the content, get ready because we're going to get back, doubling down on what we've been doing for a couple of months before that. So thank you very much, Mere Mortalites. We'll leave it there. Wherever you are in the world, Juan out.
Kyrin out.
Good.